Today I wanted to talk about the Open Master League. More specifically, I want to talk about why this league is a good indicator of all of the balance issues and some of the problems with the Go Battle League that I personally have. That's what this video is going to be all about, so let's roll the intro and get right into it. Alright, how's it going everyone? I hope you're having a good day and welcome to today's Pokemon Go video. Today we're going to be talking about the Open Master League, more specifically why I think this league is so broken and why it's a good indicator of all of the problems with the Go Battle League. Personally, I do have a lot of fun with the Open Master League, but I do think that in order to be good in this particular league, you need to be essentially pay to win. This is a huge problem with Pokemon Go's PvP system as a whole, because there's a lot of things that you do need to do in order to be competitive with this game mode. One of the things that a lot of players tend to complain about when it comes to Pokemon Go's PvP system is that the barrier of entry is at an extreme level. And I do agree with that, because Pokemon Go's PvP is extremely difficult if you do not have a good collection. On top of having specific Pokemon in order to round out your teams, you do need them to be at the exact right level as well as the exact right IVs in order to stay competitive against higher level players. And in a lot of different cases, you will typically have to cheat in some way in order to get the most ideal team. Of course, when it comes to each of the different specialty cups and leagues within the Go Battle League, there are certain times where you could just use whatever good Pokemon you have in your collection and you will find some moderate success. But in general, if you want to hit Legend rank, you will need the absolute best of the best Pokemon, and in order to get those Pokemon, you will need to do as much gameplay as you possibly can, sometimes in a way where it is essentially pay to win. And I felt this the most recently with the Open Master League. I actually have a team that is just full of really good Pokemon, and I have to say, I've been having some incredible success with this team. And I think it's in large part due to the fact that I spent a lot of money to raid these specific Pokemon, and I was able to get 100% IVs or near 100% IVs of each of these Pokemon, as well as enough XL candy in order to max them out. That has been a major flaw with the Go Battle League for the longest time, that certain players who do the most raiding or do the most gameplay are able to have a huge advantage over players who are playing in a more casual sense. There's really not much skill involved when it comes to PvP, and I know a lot of people will make the argument that all those players who have the best Pokemon are probably the ones spending the most time in Pokemon Go, so of course they deserve all the success that they get. But in actuality, Pokemon Go's PvP system is meant to be a competitive mode, where skill and technique should be a lot more important compared to how much money you're willing to spend, how many raids you're willing to do, and how many meta-relevant Pokemon you're willing to catch in order to get those rank 1 IVs whenever they happen to be available through an event or some sort of special event like Pokemon Go Fest. Once again, this is a major problem because when it comes to Pokemon Go's PvP, there really isn't too much skill involved. It just requires a good amount of Pokemon. And like I've been saying, this is a major flaw when it comes to Pokemon Go's PvP system. It really does not matter how much skill or technique you have. It's all about whether or not you have the right Pokemon in your collection. So yeah, if Niantic wants to take Pokemon Go's PvP system a lot more seriously and make it a legitimate esport or something that they could market the game around, they need to make it a lot more accessible. I think the best thing that they could do is have annual events or even monthly events that involve very good relevant PvP Pokemon. Some would argue that this is something that they already do with community days and certain events, but I would say that they're not doing enough. I mean, they're kind of making PvP under the assumption that a lot of players have every single Pokemon in their collection, and most of those Pokemon have the most ideal IVs in order to be the best optimized for PvP. I really think this is something that they should address specifically, because when it comes to IVs, I really feel like it makes a huge difference in the Go Battle League. Something that I've suggested in the past, which I really think Niantic should consider, is that when it comes to Pokemon Go's PvP system, all Pokemon are normalized to the exact CP that they need to be in order to qualify for that league. In other words, you could bring a Galarian Stunfisk that's completely completely maxed out, but it will be lowered to exactly 1500 CP if you use it in the Great League. As long as the Pokemon can reach that specific level, then it should be normalized to that level. I think that would make the game a lot more accessible, and I do think a lot more players will be able to find a lot more success, and you're going to have a lot of cases where it's going to feel a lot more competitive and not necessarily a cakewalk. Because I have no business having an 80% win rate in the Go Battle League, but that is exactly the case that I have right now when it comes to the Open Master League, specifically because I have a Groudon, Lugia, and Kyogre, all three of which are pretty relevant Pokemon in the Master League, and I have them all completely maxed out. I've literally just tapped the screen at some points and just got a lot of wins. Like, I really had no skill or technique involved when it comes to the Open Master League, and I think that's a huge problem. Because when I play a lot of other competitive games, I feel like there's a lot of skill and a lot of growth that is required in order for you to achieve the top rank. But when it comes to Pokemon Go's PvP system, you really only have to just grind it out. You can hit Legend rank if you just put your mind to it, and if you have the exact right collection that you need. Now, I totally understand that people who are serious about PvP will completely disagree with me, and I can totally understand that because, yeah, there are people who make worlds regularly, and there are people who have been grinding it out in order to achieve that kind of success. And, you know, for a lot of them to hear that Pokemon Go's PvP system is in a state where anyone can do whatever they are trying to do, I can understand that that could be extremely offensive. But in my opinion, I want to agree with that. Like, I want to believe that Pokemon Go's PvP system is in a state where people who are extremely skilled and talented will have an edge over people who are not. And that's the case with a lot of other games, but not necessarily with Pokemon Go. I feel like any casual player with the best of the best collection, maybe through spoofing, or maybe through cheating, or maybe just by playing the game religiously, like they are able to keep up with a lot of the best players in the world, and it's simply because of their collection. So yeah, in my opinion, I really feel like Niantic needs to address Pokemon Go's PvP system, give it a mini rework if necessary, and I do think that there's going to be a lot more longevity as a result of it, and I do think that for PvP itself, it could be a lot more fun for pretty much any player. Because as of right now, the Pokemon Go community has always been divided when it comes to PvP. There's a lot of players who only play Pokemon Go for the sake of PvP, and there's a lot of other players who completely ignore it. I mean, Niantic has done a decent job actually incentivizing those players to try out PvP. The Go Battle Days typically have really good rewards, and the seasonal timed research that awards you a ton of Stardust as well as Elite Charge TMs and Elite Fast TMs is also a huge plus. I mean, for myself, I really haven't been focused on PvP throughout most of my days playing Pokemon Go, at least until those timed research tickets started appearing in the Pokeshop. It was what motivated me to actually play PvP hardcore. And yeah, I do think that if I really put the effort into it, I can hit Legend rank. But as of right now, it seems like every season, as soon as I hit those 500 wins, I just completely disregard PvP. And finally, I think the third major flaw that Pokemon Go's PvP system is suffering right now is that it is not in a polished state. And I think this is a very big issue because when it comes to Pokemon Go's PvP system, there are a plethora of bugs and issues and glitches and lag issues and a whole bunch of things that have prevented players from having fun with this system. I really cannot figure out how long it's been that Niantic has been dealing with all of the lag issues when it comes to Pokemon Go's PvP system. Yes, it has improved over time, but it just really seems like the game mode is still in a beta state. And I really think this is something that Niantic needs to figure out really quickly, because when it comes to Pokemon Go's PvP system, it's really the only thing that has legs when it comes to this game. And if Niantic can't figure it out and people just completely disregard it, then yeah, there's going to be no reason for a lot of players to continue playing Pokemon Go. So yeah, in my opinion, I really feel like they need to put a lot of resources into making PvP really good. And I really hope they do. But yeah, in any case, that's going to be it for this video. I kind of wanted to just rant a little bit when it comes to PvP because I really want to enjoy PvP, but as of right now, I've been having a hard time doing that. But let me know your thoughts down below, what you think about all of this. Of course, these are just a lot of my own personal opinions based on my own experiences, and I'm very sure that a lot of you have different experiences and different opinions on PvP. definitely share those in the comments and let's have a great discussion. And if you ended up enjoying this video and found it to be informative, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if it's your first time here, and don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support my channel in any way, big or small, then do consider checking out the links in the description below. For all my patrons, they get a permanent spot on my in-game friends list. So if you want to interact with me in some way within Pokemon Go, like with remote raids, then do consider becoming a patron on my Patreon. If you need someone to invite you to remote raids, well, there you go. You can become a patron on my Patreon, and I'll be sure to invite you whenever I can. And yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I'm Count Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.